Hello again, my name is Jason, and today I'm going to be talking about The Accidental Sorcerer by K.E. Mills. K.E. Mills is the pen name for the author, and off the top of my head I can't remember her actual name, but anyway, as I recall from the little blurb that I read about her, she's born in Canada and then moved to Australia. And so some of the dialogue in here does reflect the fact that she is Australian. Not in a bad way. Let's get that out there. It actually lends to the characterization of the characters, and it's not maybe what we would call over the top. You know, sometimes in movies it seems that they go too overboard on the accent sometimes to stress the fact that the person is not from around here, kind of thing. Anyway, the main character in the book is Gerald Dunwoody. He is a magician, third class, and he has a incident in a magical staff factory. He is not a what's the word I'm looking for here? He's not a particularly spectacular wizard by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, he's a wizard, third class wizard, and it goes first, second, third kind of thing. So he's a wizard, and he's graduated. He has his staff, all that other stuff. Although magic wand might be better in this case, because it's something that he can keep inside of his coat. Just pull it out. To me, that's more of a staff. I mean, or a magic wand. It might be bigger around, but it's still a magic wand. Anyway, that being said, he's a magical safety inspector, and he goes to this factory to investigate their safety records, because somebody hasn't been filing their safety records like they should have been, so he goes there. While he's there, he finds out that basically the new owner of the factory has been cutting corners, rushing things, and hasn't been keeping up on the safety in trying to trying to keep up with the orders for his staffs. It's this particular factory makes the best staffs, and so all the first class wizards want those staffs, and so it takes quite a while to prepare and make those staffs. And so anyway, when he's there, basically the plant goes into meltdown, and Gerald does the only thing he can think possible, and the result is that the factory explodes. Now, it doesn't kill Gerald, and when he's done, he gets fired from his job. I mean, there are a lot of important wizards, their staffs just got destroyed. So Gerald is left at odds at this point, wondering how he's going to survive. And he goes home, and he basically hides in his room because he's been fired from his job. There's other wizards living there that are higher grade than he is, and they blah, blah, blah. And they make fun of him. So he then meets up with his friend, who also lives in the same boarding house. And this friend says, well, there's an advertisement for a new job, and you should take it. The job is being the Royal Court Wizard to New Otto's Land. And he's like, well, I'm only a third grade wizard, or a third class wizard, and I failed. Just got, fired from my job, etc., etc. And he comes to find out that, one, it says it doesn't matter what grade you are. And so he does apply for the job, and he ends up getting it and becoming the new royal court wizard for New Autosland. Now, not to be too picky, but I do think it's kind of odd that he's referred to as a wizard. He's the royal court wizard. He's also referred to as a magician, but never once as a sorcerer. Never once is that. The only time that the word sorcerer is used is in the title for the book. I did read a little bit at the back where the author made some dedications, and was like, thanks to this person, we came up with the perfect title for the book, something like that. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I would have thought the Accidental Magician or the Accidental Wizard would have been more appropriate in this case than the Accidental Sorcerer. Who knows? Anyway, now, this world is interesting, and I did like the setup. This world exists in a state where magic and technology coexist. It's not like high technology. Steampunk is a good word, as good a word as any, but it doesn't really even seem to fit in this case. Now, Gerald lives in a world where you can call someone using the telephone or a crystal ball. If you know the right magical vibration, you can get them on the crystal ball. If you don't know the right magical vibration, but you know their telephone number, you can always do that too. So there is this this coexistence between magic and technology. Gerald drives a car, for instance, but when he transfers from where he lives to New Autosland to become the new court wizard, he uses a portal and basically teleports from Autosland to New Autosland, negating the distance in between quite nicely. So there is, as I said, this coexistence. When he gets to New Autosland is where things start going poorly for Gerald. So Gerald, at this point, he meets the royal family of New Autosland. The royal family consists of Lionel, Melisande, and Rupert. The country of New Autosland is very much stuck in traditions and is hidebound, if you will. They have no modern conveniences. They still do the horse and carriage. They have no telephones. And it seems that that even the king and excuse me. Basically, the way it works is the king is named Lionel, and the first girl in the family is named Melisande. That's it. You don't get any other names. Rupert gets a different name because he was the second boy, so he gets his own name. But the first boy and first girl, they're named Lionel and Melisande. And it seems like once the sister, if she were to then move and marry into another kingdom, and the current ruler then marries and has a queen, her name would then become Melisande, because there always has to be the root Lionel and the Melisande. Anyway, Melisande is rather frumpy, and Lionel, on the other hand, is polar opposite. Melisande is a pushy, forceful character, not to... pushy is probably the wrong word for it. She is a forceful character. She's pushy is kind of a negative has kind of a negative connotation, and I don't want that negative connotation to be there. She is a good person. She is a princess though, and so she's used to getting her way. Her brother Lionel the king, on the other hand, he is the king, and he is also the same way, used to getting his way. But where Melisande is kind of frumpy, Lionel is male supermodel, gorgeous, and he knows it. Their brother Rupert is basically an airhead. He has no brains in his head whatsoever. The only thing that interests him is his butterflies, and keeping his butterflies. However, Gerald doesn't have to deal much with Rupert. He just has to deal with Melisande and Lionel. And Lionel, on the other hand, being the king, he is of the character that he knows what's best, and what's best is what he says. So he's one of those kings. He's not the kind to listen to someone else's opinion. It's, I have given you my opinion, it is now your command. That's very much Lionel. And he has a plan to forcefully bring New Autosland into the current century to get the country over its ways of being, its traditional ways, and bring it into the current world political sphere, however you say that. He's trying to modernize his kingdom. He is kind of trying to modernize his kingdom at the expense of everyone else. As I said before, his opinion is that when any idea that comes into his head must be a good idea because he came up with it. And they're currently having a negotiation breakdown, if you will. It could be classified as an international incident with a country called Calarap. So New Autosland is an oasis in the middle of a desert. And that desert happens to be in the middle of Calarap. Calarap is the country. It kind of surrounds New Autosland. Now, when they originally made the kingdom, and I'm getting too much into depth here, but they originally made the kingdom in order to get goods back and forth between New Autosland and Calarap and everywhere else. They had to pay fees. And current King Lionel, he doesn't want to pay those fees. He wants to be done on his terms. And so he hatches a plan, and Gerald is part of his plan to, as I said, modernize his kingdom. Things from there go pear-shaped, as they always do. And Gerald is forced to deal with representatives of the gods, the Sultan of Calarap, the King of New Autosland, his Prime Minister, which happens to be Princess Melisande, his sister. Now, I liked the book. I did. I liked the book. The characters, to me, Gerald is very much an everyman. It's very easy to see yourself in Gerald and see yourself in... because he feels he's just an ordinary guy. He does have magic and stuff, but even though he is a wizard, he's not a very high-ranking wizard, and so he doesn't necessarily try to put on airs like I'm an all-powerful wizard kind of thing. He's like, I know my limitations. I'm trying not to get too deep into who's the antagonist in this situation, but the characters come across as real, rather than like, I don't know, archetypes or flat one-dimensional characters. They have rounded edges kind of thing. Now, when I picked up this book, I thought this would be more of a comedy, more in lines with Terry Pratchett. It's called The Accidental Sorcerer. The tagline is "Dangerous one day, lethal the next." You turn it over on the back, and it's like he blows up the staff factory, and then he's now the court wizard of New Autosland. And it seems like a setup for a hilarious kind of Terry Pratchett-esque situation. Let's say Rincewind the wizard. He is a wizard, but the worst one in history. And I can just see Rincewind, blowing up a staff factory, and then the next day being named the court wizard of who knows where. I've even read other stories that have a similar setup to this that are amusing. This is not that kind of story. There are amusing things in it. Gerald has a friend named Reg. She's a bird. She was once a human and is now trapped in bird form, and some of her dialogue is quite amusing. But to think of this as a comedic story, it's not. That being said, I still did enjoy it. It was a good read. I wanted to find out what happened to the end. I was turning the pages as fast as I could read them, and I look forward to the next book. This is book 1 in the Rogue Agent series. The next one is Witches Incorporated, and so like I said, I look forward to reading that. I actually have it on my bookshelf, but the next book I'm going to read is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I already read that. It's the Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. So looking forward to that. If you have any questions, leave them down below, comments as well. As always, like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. And until the next time, enjoy what you're reading.